Well, it's Wednesday again. It keeps happening. And although I did read some other comics, I've started catching up on the Magic Order. And I think when I'm completed the second volume, I'll do a little, summary of that for the Wednesday show. And Rogue Sun's another one I finished. It's an independent superhero story, so I'll have to do that one. Unless I already did. No? Well, I might do it again anyway, because there's another volume currently. So I'll have to catch up on that as well. So, of course, my favorite has been World's Finest, and that's the current iteration. So I read World's Finest. No, not the current iteration. This is the old original from the era when it became this anthology comic with, of course, Superman and Batman being the main focus. But there was this rotating backup features of other DC characters, as you see here in this double spread cover, back when that was a new thing. And so there you go. These are the characters that were in this issue, 256. But what's significant here is the main story. I didn't know this. I've been going through back issues and buying them up. And a werewolf from Krypton. That's the story here. But also, it's kind of interesting. And I'm stretching a bit. But the idea of a creature from Krypton being a threat is almost like a precursor to Doomsday. But anyway, this one is very much the werewolf story for DC Comics Superman. And so this professor, he's trying to make contact with Earth 2. Everyone's aware of the multiverse back in the old days of DC because, I don't know, the Daily Planet would report on a team up between Justice League and Justice Society. And, of course, people on Earth 1 just only saw those characters as fictional comic book characters, only to discover in another universe they existed and all that. Which is odd, considering wouldn't Superman have been in those comics too? And then they suddenly have a real Superman? Oh, well. Anyway, instead, he actually pokes into the Phantom Zone. And there's this Kryptonian there who was put in the Phantom Zone because, well, he has an affliction. So this guy comes out as a werewolf, kills the professor right in front of his daughter. Meanwhile, there were these criminals who wanted to kidnap the professor for his technology and stuff, and that was like a subplot for Batman to deal with. And then the Kryptonian werewolf shows up. A pink werewolf, but nevertheless, because he's alien, right? And Batman, of course, is no match for Holy crap! I've never been hit that hard. He didn't know it was a Kryptonian werewolf, but it's a werewolf nonetheless, and it's pretty big, and it's pink. And he probably should have thought, I don't know, I probably can't take that one. But anyway, this gets back to Superman. He said, oh yeah, that story. Wait a minute, what? Yeah, there was this guy, and oh no, he had a great illness. So it wasn't that, so I would have thought like another thing where his father, like he had some kind of affliction and tried to cure him. But that's not the deal. He was just born with this curse. So that's just werewolf curses are on Krypton too. And he says, they had 2 moons. My God, it's twice the werewolf. And he's out on a date with his girlfriend. And oh no. And then freaks out and kills her. So he gets hunted down by the Kryptonian police. And then Jor-El, that's what he looked like originally, He had that. He didn't have the S symbol, But anyway, he said, well, you're a good guy, except for that turning into a werewolf and murdering your girlfriend. So we're going to have to put you in the Phantom Zone. And, of course, he's pretty upset that he murdered his girlfriend. So, okay, off you go into the Phantom Zone. Well, now he's on Earth. He doesn't know where he is, and he's got superpowers now and all that. He doesn't quite understand it. And he's still wearing the same clothes, but it's the Phantom Zone, so probably, it doesn't get dirty or anything because you're a ghost, so probably doesn't smell too bad, except when he turns into a werewolf. But the interesting thing is, I don't know, does he have like unstable molecular structures of his clothes like the Fantastic Four does, so that his pink fur grows out, except for the shorts? The shorts stay there for, reasons. And then, very good reasons. And the pink fur comes out. He's a werewolf. So anyway, there's fights here and fights there. Batman's got to deal with the criminals. Superman is having a tough time fighting with a super werewolf. And then eventually Batman comes up with the idea, hey, I know, just make him follow you out into orbit and fly to the other side of the planet where the sun is shining. And so there goes his werewolfism. And so knocks him out and says, well, you know what we got to do, buddy? Yeah, I know. Hey, maybe we'll fix it one day. Yeah, I feel terrible about this. Yeah, me too. It's really, really sad. He probably, hey, do you have some kryptonite for me to swallow? Because I really don't want to live anymore. Poor bastard. But no, off he goes. And then never hear about him again, as far as I know. His name is Laron. I don't know. Was there ever a follow-up story about this poor guy? Because every now and then there was Mon-El, and I think there was a couple of others that were somewhat sympathetic. They weren't as bad as General Zod, who also appears in this story. But they weren't intended to be there forever. They were going to get released, but then Krypton blew up. Whoops, and that sort of thing. And I think Superman did free some of them. One guy lost his memory and his powers, and then he showed up again in the Phantom Zone series. That's one I could review here too. It's not too bad. And but he was initially a Kryptonian criminal, but he wasn't as bad as Zod, and he redeemed himself and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know if there's any follow-up for this poor guy. He was just forgotten. He was just floating around, and then the crisis happened, and this universe ceased to exist. First your planet, then your universe. Oh man. So anyway, there you go. Yes. Werewolf from Krypton. That's what happened there. Maybe I should have saved this for Halloween. But anyway, the next one, the art's really good. Done by Dick Dillon. And inks by Frank Chiaramonte, I guess. And it is a bit of a follow-up on our previous story of Green Arrow, which I can't remember if I reviewed it here. Green Arrow lost all his money, and he had to sell off a lot of his stuff, including his Arrowmobile. And some crooks got it to use it to commit crimes with, and he went and got it. And he's still trailing somebody who was involved in that. But basically, this is just a story to introduce Black Lightning, who's going to have his own series in World's Finest. And Green Arrow, and they're both tracking this crime lord guy, and they just happen to bump into each other. They fight with one another at first and then realize, hey, we got the same goal and that sort of thing. And off they go, and Black Lightning saves Green Arrow. He almost dove into a pool to save what he thought was a child, but it's just a little dummy, and the pool is filled with acid in order to kill off, trespassers. It's a lot of trouble, because you're like, oh boy, it's summertime. I like to take a swim. Oh, man, I can't. It's acid. Yeah, I got to get that out of there. But, the prowlers and stuff. So anyway, that's all it was to introduce him. And I think Green Arrow's like, well, good luck with that, buddy. And he leaves him to deal with it. I don't know. So next issue, Black Lightning joins World's Finest in his own solo feature. So I guess he survives whatever he's about to face. Maybe they'll continue this story. I don't have the next issue yet. I don't. It's kind of high. He's like, yeah, well, good luck with that. Then he's got to head over to his girlfriend, a black canary. She's training her canary cry and trying to focus it and, get more control of it. So she's kind of upset that she's having a hard time with it. So she goes off to this abandoned amusement park that's getting ready to be demolished to practice her canary cry power and does stuff. Then she finds some criminals up to no good. gets in a fight with him, destroys everything with her canary cry. And ultimately they're led by this fortune teller old lady, supposedly. But through the story, she notices, boy, she moves really fast for an old bride, but it's all makeup. She's about as young as Black Canary. So, oh my goodness. So then she goes home to, all of her queens, women, and that's it. It wasn't all that great. Hawkman and Hawkgirl, well, it starts off, they're upset. They're exiles from Thanagar, and Superman says, well, I kind of know what that's like. I no longer have Krypton to go to. And it's totally not the same. We still have that. It's like, well, he's trying to relate to you and stuff, but of course, especially Hawkman is quite the a-hole. So anyway, their own ship has been commandeered by the Harpy. And she's the leader. Got you by the tail. And that's that. They take care of it. So, But harpies, weren't they all? Well, they were a species of myth, but they were always described as female. But I guess there could be male harpies, but they certainly are here in this story, and they're led by their queen, But anyway, so finally, probably the best art of the series was this Don Newton taking on the original Captain Marvel for the Shazam stories. You see, there's the kids, and there they are with the ghostly figure of the wizard as they appeared in these days. And but it's this weird time travel story. It starts off rather serious. This guy shows up and claims he's responsible for the death of Billy Batson's parents. He's like, oh my God. And he tells this story that this weird guy shows up to make a wager. And if he wins, then he bets that these certain events won't happen. And this guy takes the bet that they will. And they all do, one of which was the death of Billy Batson's parents. And this guy has become convinced because he engaged with this scam or this gamble with this weird entity called the Gamester. If he loses, he dies, and that's the deal. But he never loses, and the Gamester's interested in that. I forget exactly why. But he comes back again, and so Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel decide to figure out what's this all about. And he makes these impossible bets. And one of them was to demonstrate the guy had superpowers, which at super speed, Mary Marvel made him look like he did. And the guy, oh, you won that one. So then he says, well, a dinosaur will appear right out the window. And so Captain Marvel, using the Rock of Eternity, can go back in time. And so he does, and he brings back a dinosaur just to show it off outside the window. And then finally, the guy bets that the sun will rise in the west, of course. So they moved the Earth. See, back in those days, you could do that. Superman did it all the time. And you just grab a point at the equator and push. And, hey, you know what? It worked. They did it. So they win. And the guy was like, oh, okay. And so he bet these events wouldn't happen and stuff, but his original bet was for things that he knew would happen. It turns out he's just a con man from the future, and he knew what the future was. So he knew like the Batson's death was not due to either one of them. It was a set point in time. It was going to happen no matter what, and he had nothing to do with it. But this time around, which Mary and Captain Marvel, they go and save the people who would have been victims of this gamble. And by this, they say, oh, well, it changed time. So he's stuck in their timeline. He can't go back to his because it no longer exists. Now, this is before the alternate timeline theories, I guess, or they just wasn't aware of it, right? But that's kind of interesting. No, it's collapsed. Now I can't go back. I don't know if he still has his time machine or whatever. Maybe he just can't. I don't know. Oh, yeah. He says, my accomplice won't be able to bring me back from here with our time. That's right. Yeah. So But still, some theories about time travel. I don't know that this would work entirely. Plus, Captain Marvel could bring him back because he has a natural time machine with the Rock of Eternity, which also begs the question, hey, you could save your parents. But it might be one of those rules of don't use your power for your own personal whatever. So, plus this poor bastard who suffered all these years, because the guy was for him, it was only a couple of minutes, but he was jumping in and out of time throughout this guy's life, tormenting him with this idiot game. And he was telling him he's going to be dead within a year anyway. And but now that things have changed, maybe he won't be. And he's got a new outlook on life in his later years. So, well, whatever. So then, oh yeah, we got to put the Earth back right. So they'll do that off page. But anyway, there you go. Of that one. So yeah, I'm reading a Magic Order, but I got some new comics ordered. Should be here any minute now. And I will probably review those for the next episode of Mr. Nailsin's Wednesday Comic.